Hi, Tom Hill III at the Strikezone Studios for a podcast on baseball. And I have a saying, it's not original, but baseball has been very good to me. And Bob, do you know what professional player used that?
Minnie Minoso.
Oh, I thought you said it was Mr. Peanut before.
No.
Well, and the reason I use that is because my father, in sixth grade, maybe younger, he built us a complete semi-professional baseball field at Park Lawn Drive in the backyard. We had 7 kids, and he wanted to keep us home. And I thought I was a pretty darn good baseball player on the home field in the neighborhood. And my father brought me to, I guess he had somebody he sold a car to, that he brought me to Little League in 6th grade. And I got up there to bat, and to me they were throwing the balls at 70 miles an hour, scaring the pants off me, and then I got hit with the ball, and that was the end of my baseball career. So why should people bring their kids, and could have you helped me if my father had brought me to the strike zone here up in Woken?
Yeah, I mean, we work with things like that. I mean, some of the kids, they're not afraid of anything, and then there's some that are a little skittish, and that's the value of training. The more they train, the more confident they get in what they're trying to do. Softball, baseball, either, and the machines that we use, they tend to throw in one spot. So
Pitching machines?
Yeah, so the player doesn't have to worry about, somebody throwing live where the ball's going all over and they might get hit. So they gain a little bit more confidence there.
Can you teach these kids how to watch out for the wild pitch and not get hit too?
Yeah, well, we teach them what to do should they see a wild pitch,
okay.
how to avoid it, or how to protect themselves the best that they can.
Duck!
That's one of them. Turn the correct way, things of that nature.
Okay. Coach, this is Coach Bob.
Yes.
We're talking a little bit of baseball for a change. No real estate today, no construction.
No.
Baseball and softball.
Yeah, and the parents, we have kids from all ages, from 6, 7 years old up to college players, softball again and baseball, and the advantages of training. We look at these kids, and it sounds a little self-serving, but the kids that work out on a regular basis, typically every week, they just get better. They train, they get better. They don't, everything today is different than it was years ago. Everything's a scheduled event, whether it's a lesson or a practice or a game or a scrimmage, what have you. It's not like they're just, running down to the local field with a bunch of neighborhood kids playing the game. They just don't do it.
And how important is field time, and explain that?
Well, field time's really important. I mean, you get to, I always tell the kids, all they're doing when they go to the field is kind of practice what they've been practicing here. It's you're just going out and remind them it's a game. Why do we play games? We play games to have fun. And maybe that's one of the other advantages of training. You have a better chance of success. And whether you're a softball player or a baseball player, the game's about failure. If you hit 3 and 10, you're considered good, but you failed 7 other times. So how do you teach the player how to deal with that, stay confident, and succeed as much as they can?
Well, good advice. Okay, I'm with Coach Bob here. His cell phone, 203-982-3481. If you have a pencil, I'll repeat it in just a second. His email, coachbob.online, coachbob.online, 203-982-3481. And I'm not just a hired gun here on this podcast. Bob's a friend of mine. I've been doing business with him for 35 years. He knows his stuff. Free introduction. You'll be happy, believe me. So let's go more to player commitment and how their parents are involved.
Well, I mean, you tell the kids all the time, it's not only a commitment on their part to train and work on their game to get better, but it's also a commitment both financially and physically from the parents, because they're the ones that got to get the kids to and fro, whether it's a training session or playing with teams or what have you. They've got a commitment of their own. Today, so much of it has to do, there are very few leagues that have so many teams that they play in one spot. Very often, those even local teams, maybe they're a little league team, etc., they're traveling to different towns because they don't have enough teams within the league. So they're traveling to different towns to get games in during the course of the season for these kids to play. So
I enjoy it immensely. My 2 granddaughters, 9 and 11, I say, oh, how's baseball? Grandpa, it's softball. And they travel all over the Naugatuck Valley, and I enjoy it. Some of the fields are fantastic, and some are worn down, but it's fun to move around. It's not too far,
Right.
but the parents have to be prepared to take them or get somebody to take them, and you got to hang around and watch the game if you can. I find it to be enjoyable. And another, to your point, one of the coaches was telling me recently he had to take a kid out of the outfield, take him off the field. The parents were furious, but the kid was daydreaming in the field. Talk about the danger of that and why the kids have to pay attention, or you can coach them to pay attention and enjoy the game for everybody.
Well, listen, again, baseball or softball, you try to tell the kids, somebody hits the ball, you can get hurt. It's a moving missile. And if you're not paying attention, you can get hurt. Now, girls very often wear a helmet and a face mask, so they've got a little bit more protection. A lot of the guys do not wear the proper gear. Parents very often don't have their kids wearing the proper gear, whether it be a mouthpiece or a cup or what have you. When they're hitting a helmet with a face guard that comes down the side of the helmet and protects them a little bit more, they don't always have their kids in the right equipment. And so, yeah, safety is big. I'm surprised a lot of leagues don't mandate certain equipment be worn by all the players, and I think at some point that's where it will come to. But yeah, we teach the kids all the time. When you step out onto the field, you better pay attention because the ball's flying around. And
hello, this is Bob. I'm busy right now.
Yes. And you can get hurt. But if you play the game the right way, you can have a great time. I don't care whether you're trying to play at a high level or a local level where a kid's just going out trying to enjoy the game. And the more they train, the better they do, the more fun they have. I mean, if you're a kid, would you rather go 2 for 3 or 0 for 3?
You'd rather hit the ball. And here, welcome to the Strikezone Podcast studio. We're here live at the Strike Zone. It's up on 1186 Wolcott Road, Route 69 in Wolcott. You can call Bob Warner at 203-982-3481. Let's talk about good grades and paying attention to school so that it benefits you with your baseball or softball training and activities.
Well, I mean, thankfully today, the schools pay a lot more attention to grades and whatnot. If you don't get certain grades, you're not going to be eligible to play. And if the kids really train hard and they want to play, they've got to do the whole package. And grades that start out as number one. Especially if they want to go to college, whether they're playing a sport or not, the better grades they get, the better opportunities they're going to have to go. The more schools might accept them, the more options they may have when they go to do it. But I find too that the kids that, and I don't know how to say this in the right way, I don't want to offend anybody, but the kids that really work hard academically and they're smart kids, they get better quicker. They just train better. It's something about it. They just tend to do a little bit better, and we emphasize it. And I always tell the kids, look, if you call me up 5 minutes before you're supposed to be here because you've got to stay home to study for a test tomorrow, you're not going to make me mad at all because your grades are first.
True, but also you have to run a business here at the Strike Zone, and people do have to show up on time.
Right.
What does the Strike Zone look like? What will they see when they come here?
Well, we're a facility that has full turf in it. We've got two cages and a field area. Field area can be split. We've got pitching mounds, whether it be for softball. We've got pitching. I want to say mound, but a pitching carpet, if you will, with a mound. We've got machines, iron mics in the cages. We've got a softball pitching machine, and so we've got the array of what they need to train.
20-foot ceilings.
Yeah, actually 22 probably.
Oh, you're saying that only over 2 feet?
Yes.
It's a nice building. You should come out. Okay, so you can call Bob at the Strike Zone, 203-982-3481. His email is coachbob.online. Our producer is Jeff. I'm Tom Hill from tomhill.com. Appreciate you tuning in. I had one more here. Let's talk a little bit about more the why. Why parents might want to sign their their children up for your training, and maybe a little bit about when you analyze the kids, what do they need more? Because there's hitting, fielding, pitching, playing shortstop. There's a lot to baseball and softball.
Well, I mean, some of it depends on the age. Like you get a younger kid who's 6, 7 years old. I mean, I don't like to pigeonhole any kid. So you're automatically doing a kind of an all-around workout with them. You're working on fielding, throwing, proper throwing mechanics, how to catch the ball, hitting, same thing, proper mechanics, and a lot of what I do is work on the mental side of it as well.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, you know.
What does that mean, the mental side?
Well, you know, kids have to learn how to, you know, you get in the box, how they have to focus on what we call the release point of the pitcher and track the ball from their hand to their bat and be able to block everything out. You know, you can't step in the box after you take signs and have a whole lot of stuff on your head. You've got to be able to focus on keeping it simple, seeing it, and working the mental side of it. You could have the best mechanics in the world, but if you can't focus on what it is you're trying to do, you're not going to have a whole lot of success.
This was me in baseball. I couldn't hit it. At home I could, but when they started throwing that pitch hard. But later in life, not that I played a lot of baseball, but I learned how to hit the ball, and that mechanic. And I'd say to my granddad, you're right, you got to look at that pitcher and study the ball, and now I can hit. Not that it's going to do me any good at this age, but you're right.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, it carries over to everything they do. You know, if they got to go into a test at school tomorrow and they got all kinds of stuff going on, it's a little bit maybe harder for them to do well, but if they can relax and focus and recall what they've studied, they've got a better chance to do well in that test.
Or how about teaching them about fielding?
Fielding, same thing. I mean, you know, can they, you know, pitcher gets ready to pitch the ball, can they block everything out and get down and focus and you know, be ready to make a play when it comes their way? And can they have enough thought process to think about, even before the pitch is thrown, what's the situation and what am I going to do with the ball if it's hit to me? What's the right thing I should do? So,
and how do you think, what do you think about parents who want to send their kids to college if they notice that the coach that they go to, you're a specialty coach with private training, but what if they're seeing their child play and doing really good? Would the consulting that you're doing or the training, could that help them get a scholarship to college later? How does that track run?
I think that any player that trains the right way will continue to get better, and there are a lot of opportunities for athletic scholarships out there, girls and boys.
You consult on that too to some
Yeah,
degree?
we try to give them the knowledge we have on when they should start to really look at schools, try to reach out, contact coaches, or how to respond to coaches that might try to reach out to them and try to really, an important factor is guiding them towards maybe a school they have a better opportunity to play at. Obviously, first and foremost is, does that school have the degree they're looking to attain? You know, if they're trying to be in pharmaceuticals or they're trying to be in accounting or whatever it may be, they may be looking at 4 or 5 schools that have what they want to be, and maybe some of the coaches that are trying to get them happen to have what they're trying to get a degree in accessible at the school too. But it starts there, and if they have the baseball or softball program at that school, then it's can they obtain scholarship money? And again, depending on division, D3 doesn't have athletic money, but they do have
D3?
Division III baseball. You have Division I, Division II, and Division III, and Division III doesn't have athletic money, but they do have academic money and different things. They have different ways of attracting players that a Division II or I or II doesn't have.
Right.
They do have too, but
So you're getting a flavor of Coach Bob, 203-982-3481. I'll say it again, 203-982-3481. Online, coachbob.online, which is an email, coachbob.online. And that brings me back, one more, we won't hold you up all day, and thank you for watching this, folks. Let's talk about how you got into coaching. Where did you come from in baseball and softball as a young person, and how did you get where you are now, owning and operating the Strike Zone?
Well, as a kid, growing up, I was very much into all sports, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in a neighborhood where that's in fact what we did. Everybody would come home from school, throw their stuff down, meet down the park or basketball court or whatever it may be. And we had a local community center, rec center, where there was a lot going on there too. And I played sports growing up, and then, as I had a family, I got back into it when my kids were growing up. They happened to love baseball, and obviously I gravitated to that. And I was fortunate enough through the years, both early and throughout, to work with some very good guys, good coaches that were very good trainers as well. And not all, there's not a ton, but
in every field.
yeah. But I was lucky to work with a few that were very good, and I learned a lot from them. And started coaching teams probably when my son was 13, and I've been coaching them ever since. I don't do teams anymore. I do basically just instruction. I started really besides on the field with teams and whatnot, I started at the Strikezone in Clinton, Connecticut, and then I went to North Branford, and then I ended up here in Wolcott, a building we owned. We had rented out to a group that unfortunately didn't work out, and so I had somebody come in and try to run it. I didn't have the time at the time to run it, but I was doing instruction out of it and whatnot. And then unfortunately that didn't work, so I just ended up taking it over, and my offices for my other businesses are here, and it just was a good fit. I had family in the area.
And you enjoy it.
Yeah, I love the kids. Kids are great.
That's great. And then we'll wrap this up, folks. What about do you follow professional or college baseball? What gets your attention in the sport that way?
Yeah, I follow it to some extent. I work a lot. I leave in the morning early, and I don't get home till, I do the Strike Zone really at night, so I don't get home till 10 or 11 o'clock at night during the week, so I don't have a lot of time. And I've been lucky my wife hasn't left me yet for it. So
over baseball.
I overwork in general.
Baseball's been very bad to me.
I think it's work in general, but I try to spend time in the weekend with my family and stuff, and I got grandkids playing now, so to be able to see my grandson play and stuff, it's kind of great.
Love it. Oh, so let's 1 minute message to the parents on why they might want to put their kids in the Strike Zone.
Well, I think if you come up, what I would tell you is come up, try a lesson with myself or my other instructor, Nelson Sandboy, and you can try it, see if you like it, and I think you will. Everybody seems to, and see how we can make a difference in your child's attempt to play what is a very difficult game, whether baseball or softball.
And they're probably playing it already. So on behalf of Coach Bob, 203-982-3481, Coach Bob .online for his email. You can find me at tomhill.com. I see Bob all the time in our real estate and construction practices, so I can always help you if you want to check in with me as well. And thanks to our producer, Jeff, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Yes. Woo-hoo.